Lana's world. Exterior, park, afternoon. Remaining equipment is trashed. Only one swing remains. Lana kicks a half-inflated soccer ball. She's good.
Thorns tryouts were supposed to be tomorrow. Dad said I'd make it.
She kicks the ball hard, sends it flying into a patch of blackberries at the edge of the park.
Sucks. The world crashes right when women have all the best teams.
Lana ambles over to pick blackberries and watches Rocky sniff around the bushes.
So Vermont makes maple syrup. Well, the state doesn't. The trees do.
Rocky disappears behind the slide. Lana follows him.
I tried to do a catchy slogan for Vermont. I've written them for 11 states so far. Some states are too easy, like Texas. Just stay out.
She nudges Rocky back towards the blackberries.
Vermont has maple syrup, so I made it the state of happy pancakes. Lame. But my dad was there studying beetles that burrow into maple trees. He would have smiled.
Lana wipes the juice on her pants.
I haven't got the one for Oregon right yet, because it should have blackberries in it somewhere.
She heads for the swing.
But Oregon, home of fast-growing, impossible-to-kill, invasive blackberries, doesn't scan. Plus, you'd have to use really small print to get it on the t-shirts, and who needs to encourage all the pervs?
Lana settles into the intact swing, keeping an eye on Rocky.
Mom used to edit my papers. She said I was some kind of genius.
She scrubs her stained hands against her pants again and shakes her head.
What she actually said was that I might have the only mind in history incapable of thinking in a linear fashion. You have to lead people, Lana. Give them context.
Click. The tape stops. Lana starts a new one.
So, context, history, backstory, the boring explaining part. It was an offshore fault line that went first, probably the Cascadia.
She swings a moment, staring up at the trees.
Seattle crumbled off the map, buckled into the water. The coast shook and shattered all the way to Canada.
She stops swinging to watch Rocky.
That was only the first quake. There were still voices on our emergency radio. And Mom was still at another stupid continuing education class in Seattle.
Her voice cracks. She jumps up, scuffs through the sand, making furrows and stomping them flat.
6 hours. That's how long we listened. Until the next quakes rumbled under us. Tara and I huddled in the middle of Mom's vegetable garden, and the house tilted, and the apartments next to us collapsed.
She stops and stares at the sky.
People screamed. Until they didn't.
Her finger trembles over the off button until she sees Rocky lift his leg.
What happens when a dog runs out of pee? Rocky's not that big a dog. How am I supposed to figure out what percentage of him is his bladder?
She pulls a leash out of her pocket.
Life without Google really sucks. Seriously, it's worse than the Dark Ages because no one needed to know anything then except how not to starve or die from the plague. Okay, so maybe those were important too, but they didn't have to look up the symptoms of PTSD or worry about a dog dehydrating after the end of the world. Just saying.
She moves after Rocky, who trots further away.
I mean, would a dog die if you left him alone in a forest? Peeing and peeing until his bladder sucked all the blood out of his veins and peed that out too, but then there were still unmarked trees, and so he kept peeing until he folded in on himself and turned into a husk or collapsed?
She lunges at Rocky, grabs him, and clips the leash on.
Stop peeing!
Lana retrieves a cup, pours water in, shoves it at Rocky.
Drink. You don't think I have enough to worry about?
Later, Lana wears a front-loading baby carrier with Rocky unhappily secured inside. She slings her backpack over her shoulder and eyes the trees at the edge of the park, wedges her tape recorder under the strap so she can record as she heads for the trees.
So, if Rocky was a bigger dog, this would never work. It's not so easy lugging 20 pounds of reluctant canine up a tree. Try it yourself if you don't believe me.
At the base of a thick tree, she looks up at a small platform built up in the branches, a rudimentary treehouse. An empty chip bag falls from Lana's backpack. As she bends to get it, Rocky grumbles. She leaves it.
You want them to get you?
She starts to climb.
I found this sling carry thing at one of those stores where mothers who bought stupid expensive clothes for their little darlings try to recoup their investment by reselling them to smarter moms.
She pauses to look down.
When the world went out, no one thought there'd be anything useful in a place like that. But if you need to haul a dog up a tree...
Treehouse, moments later. Lana and Rocky are on the platform in the tree as far back as they can be. Lana ties Rocky's leash to a board and pulls out snacks for them. She loosens the baby carrier with one hand, rummages for her idea notebook with the other.
Okay, visualize this.
Insert animation sequence with Lana narration. A valley filled with flowers.
We have a magazine cover type mom.
Pop! A pretty mom appears, looking confused to find herself there. But she adjusts, smiles a big fake smile.
And a perfect baby in her sling thing.
Mom wears a baby carrier, complete with drooling baby.
She's walking.
Mom starts walking, smiling at baby.
When a bear charges them.
A bear appears behind them, wobbling and very, very disoriented. It barfs.
Hey, no barfing.
Bear looks contrite, staggers a little, shakes itself, and charges Mom and baby.
Mom gets that TV commercial look of concern. You know, the one where her laundry doesn't sparkle or her husband drops dead without insurance. Or never mind, you know.
Sure enough, a furrow appears between Mom's brows.
Anyway, Mom climbs a conveniently located tree.
A tree pops up in front of Mom, who smooths her hair, checks her lipstick, and then skedaddles up the tree.
What a moron! Bears climb trees.
And yep, the bear heads up after Mom and baby.
But I guess viewers would complain if they had to watch some squishy baby getting swallowed.
Bear pauses halfway up tree, waiting for instructions.
We'll cut to a sunset of flowers.
Scene shifts to meadow as flowers rapidly pop up and grow to various heights. One flower grows too fast, spews seeds, and falls over dead. The other flowers turn toward the impetuous blossom and shake their petaled heads in disapproval. Meanwhile, the sun does a rapid rise to set cycle, bypasses setting for a moment of blackness, rewinds quickly, and stops at sunset.
Now we have something inoffensive and soothing to watch for all the idiots who think bad things don't happen. Side note to idiots, they do. And the only reason I can't gloat about being right is because most of you are dead. Sorry about that.
Flowers in the breeze and sunset. Lana crunches potato chips.
Okay, so right after the crunchy baby part, now we see the bear asleep.
Bear asleep in the flowers at sunset.
With the sling thing on its nose.
Bear has baby carrier on his nose.
And then the slogan, "Our stupid sling thing survives anything."
The slogan rolls across the screen.
Okay, maybe we have to tweak the demographics a little, but it's got potential, right? I could totally create awesome ads.
End animation, back to scene. Lana closes her notebook.
If there were any TVs or moms left.
She pulls Rocky close. He grumbles.
Oh, be quiet. There could still be bears out there. You don't know.
Arms around the dog, her eyes drift shut. Treehouse, night. Lana's eyes snap open. In her arms, Rocky growls. She puts one hand over his muzzle.
Shh!
She pulls her Benchmade knife from her belt. In the trees below, voices. 2. Male. Ugly drunk. Lana tightens her grip on Rocky's muzzle, scoots them back into the shadows as far as she can get.
Be quiet.
The voices get closer. Lana's trembling hand tightens on the knife. Under her hand, Rocky growls harder.
You hear something?
Lana glares at Rocky.
I'll drop you on their heads if you don't shut up.
Gotta take a leak.
Footsteps grow very close. Stop under the tree. Rocky squirms in Lana's arms. She clamps him against her, turns his head into her to muzzle the sound. Crunch, crackle. Someone steps on the potato chip bag below. Lana eases forward, just a smidge, peeking over the edge. Looks down into the eyes of male 2, shining in the dark under his cap. His grin is not comforting.
Hey, little girl.
Male 1 joins in.
You lonesome up there?
I have a knife.
She takes her hand off Rocky's muzzle.
And a really vicious dog. You should leave before I lose control of him and he tears you apart.
The men retreat a step, laughing, not taking their eyes off her. They move back into the shadows and whisper together.
I won't drop you. I promise.
The men return.
Make it easier if you come on down so we can talk.
Lana unfastens Rocky's leash.
I'll try to get you down, and then you run.
She grabs the dog's head in both hands to look into his eyes.
Run away fast. Do you understand? Don't let them eat you.
Rocky snarls at the men underneath. Lana gets to her knees, knife in hand, waiting. The sound comes from the next tree over. Lana looks over and almost falls off the platform. A guy, Jake, 20s, face streaked dark with battle camo paint, gestures for her to move back, out of sight. There's a big knife in his hand. A military, no one survives this baby, killing knife. Lana opens her mouth to speak. He gestures hard. Don't talk. Move back. And suddenly, Rocky goes dead silent, as motionless as if the atoms stopped moving inside him. Lana pulls him away from the edge.
Come on down, little girl. We have a surprise.
A heavy impact in the dark, and Male 2 screams. Lana peeks over the edge in time to see something yanked the guy into the darkness. Male 2 thrashes and shrieks in the trees a moment, and then he's silent. Lana looks over at the next tree. Jake's still there. He motions with his head, stay out of sight. Stay still. But Lana is frozen because a shadow creeps from the trees right behind Male 1. It swirls slowly, forming and reforming, darker than the night surrounding.
Marcus, where the fuck are you?
Whoom. The shadow lunges in the darkness, a rapid, unidentifiable blur. Male 1 screams as it folds around him. He's still screaming when it yanks him back out of sight. And then there's silence. Lana closes her eyes. Rocky cowers. A long, silent beat. Lana opens her eyes to look over at the next tree. Jake is gone. Lana pulls Rocky against her as she stares over at the empty tree. A tear sneaks down her cheek.
I hate this world.